Some antique watches don't just surprise the families who inherit them, they can leave even seasoned appraisers stunned by the extraordinary craftsmanship and hidden history inside. On Antiques Roadshow, these unforgettable discoveries often begin when a forgotten drawer, attic box, or family safe reveals a remarkable treasure. Today, we're counting down the rarest and most valuable vintage timepieces ever brought to light. Don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable discoveries.
It would bring about $5,000 to $6,000.
Holy smokes. That's a lot more than I thought.
Number 1. Tiffany & Co. Pendant Watch. At first glance, this delicate blue pendant watch looks like an elegant piece of Edwardian jewelry, but its intricate translucent surface conceals a far more remarkable story. The shimmering pattern reveals guilloché enamel, a painstaking technique that required artisans to engrave precise geometric designs before covering them with translucent enamel. The curved platinum case and natural pearl chain reflect the extraordinary craftsmanship reserved for luxury pieces of the early 20th century. But what legendary collaboration was hidden inside this tiny decorative case?
What I brought in is a pendant watch that was my husband's grandmother's, and I've kept the necklace part of it separate and worn it many times. I don't wear the watch very often.
You have a piece of paper in front of you.
It's the appraisal from 1968.
The first major clue appears in the original 1968 appraisal, which identifies the pearls as oriental, an historic term referring to natural pearls formed entirely inside wild oysters. Unlike cultured pearls, these gems developed without human intervention, making them especially desirable in fine jewelry from this period. Inside the case, the intricate guilloché enamel was executed over platinum, combining mechanical precision with delicate decorative artistry.
Inside you have guilloché enamel, which means they do engraving on the metal, and then they put a translucent enamel on top of that.
The real revelation comes when the watch movement is examined more closely. Although the elegant exterior was created for Tiffany & Co., the mechanical heart of the watch was made by Patek Philippe, creating a remarkable partnership between two legendary names in luxury. Even the later mounting modification reveals unusual care, as the jeweler used a rivet rather than removing the original rings or permanently altering the chain. That small decision preserved the watch's original construction and allowed the piece to potentially return to its earlier configuration.
The watch was made for Tiffany by Patek Philippe and Company.
When natural pearls, platinum, guilloché enamel, and a Patek Philippe movement come together, even a tiny pendant watch can become a significant piece of horological history. Its importance comes not simply from the materials, but from the extraordinary craftsmanship and collaboration between two renowned luxury houses. Now only one question remained. How much could this remarkable heirloom be worth?
So today at auction, this is easy $8,000 to $10,000.
Really?
And that's an auction price.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
And that is what makes this pendant watch so extraordinary. Its value is not simply in the platinum, natural pearls, or antique movement, but in the rare meeting of Tiffany's refined jewelry design with Patek Philippe's celebrated watchmaking. More than a century later, this tiny heirloom remains a beautiful reminder that exceptional craftsmanship can outlast both changing fashions and generations. Number 2. Blancpain Pendant Watch. Not every meaningful treasure begins as a planned purchase or a prized inheritance. This small platinum timepiece entered its owner's family during a quiet moment of personal reconciliation after more than 40 years of silence. Given as a modest gift of apology and healing, it spent years sitting quietly inside a felt box, its owner completely unaware of the extraordinary craftsmanship hidden within. But how could such a sentimental gift turn out to be a rare survivor of interwar luxury?
I brought today a pendant watch that my father gave my mother after they were divorced. It's kind of an apology item because they had a rough several years, like probably 40 plus years.
The first major clue lies in the movement, which the appraiser identifies as Blancpain, one of Switzerland's historic watchmaking houses. Founded in 1735, Blancpain developed sophisticated mechanical movements and became renowned for producing highly refined timepieces. During the 1920s, miniature pendant watches allowed fashionable women to carry precise mechanical movements while displaying elaborate jewelry artistry.
This one is Blancpain. Blancpain is a Swiss watchmaking company, founded in 1735. Blancpain is the oldest watchmaker.
Turning the pendant over reveals the extraordinary decorative work that makes this piece unmistakably Art Deco. Hand-painted enamel figures are framed by geometric platinum details and surrounded by genuine old-cut diamonds. Two natural sapphire cabochons add vivid accents while complementing the pendant's intricate design. Dating from approximately 1920 to 1925, the watch captures an era when even tiny personal accessories could receive painstaking hand craftsmanship.
This dates from 1920 to 1925. It really is true Art Deco.
The combination of a high-grade Blancpain movement, platinum construction, hand-painted enamel, diamonds, and natural sapphires elevates this tiny pendant far beyond an ordinary vintage watch. Its exceptional craftsmanship and strong Art Deco identity make it a remarkable example of early 20th century luxury. Now, only one question remained. How much could this unexpected treasure be worth?
Retail on this, it would bring about $5,000 to $6,000.
Holy smokes.
And that is what makes this pendant watch so extraordinary. Its value is not simply in the platinum, diamonds, or mechanical movement, but in the remarkable story attached to the person who received it. Nearly a century after its creation, this tiny Art Deco treasure still carries a powerful reminder that beauty and reconciliation can sometimes become part of the same family heirloom. Number 3. Cartier PAVÉ Diamond Tank and Louis Vuitton Trunk. Before luxury watches became coveted auction centerpieces, many exceptional timepieces were simply treasured parts of a family's everyday life. What makes this story even more unusual is that the watch remained protected inside a miniature luxury trunk that had been preserved alongside it for decades. But what made this particular Cartier tank so different from the countless others produced during the 20th century?
I brought a watch that was my great-grandmother's. It was passed down from my great-grandparents to my grandparents to my parents and then to me.
The first major clue lies in the watch's lavish diamond setting. Although the Cartier tank became famous for its clean geometric design, this example features unusually large diamonds covering the case, creating a dramatically more luxurious appearance. Even more remarkable, the winding crown is, itself, set with a diamond, a detail that immediately distinguishes this watch from more conventional tank models.
But what's unusual about this, and all the other Cartier ladies' watches are from this collection, what you'll see is that this is set with much bigger diamonds than normal.
Another unusual feature is the original textured animal skin strap, identified by the family as shea green, a material long associated with luxury decorative arts. The watch also remained together with a miniature Louis Vuitton trunk, adding another layer of French luxury history to the family heirloom. The pairing is especially striking because both Cartier and Louis Vuitton represent two of France's most recognizable traditions of high-end craftsmanship.
What I see here is Cartier, French company, Louis Vuitton, French company. She liked everything French. She liked good names, good quality, owning nice things.
The combination of a diamond-set Cartier tank, an unusual original strap, and its accompanying Louis Vuitton case creates a fascinating snapshot of 20th century French luxury. What makes the group particularly compelling is that the watch and its protective case survived together through several generations of family ownership. Now, only one question remained. How much could this elegant heirloom be worth today?
So this one in today's market, a retail price on that is going to be $10,000 to $12,000.
Wow.
And that is what makes this family heirloom so extraordinary. Its value is not simply in the diamonds or the Cartier name, but in how generations of careful preservation kept the watch together with the personal case that had protected it for decades. Today, this elegant combination of French jewelry and luxury craftsmanship remains a sparkling reminder that the most meaningful treasures are often the ones families choose to keep. Number 4. Art Deco Diamond and Opal Convertible Bracelet Watch. During the financial uncertainty of the 1930s, fine diamond jewelry was beyond the reach of most families. Yet one fortunate couple managed to acquire an elegant platinum timepiece during the Great Depression, turning a difficult era into part of their family's story. Rather than leaving the watch as a conventional timepiece, its owner had it cleverly transformed so the same piece could serve as both a watch and a bracelet. But what ingenious feature allowed this Art Deco treasure to change its entire appearance?
This is my great aunt's bracelet, and it's a watch and a bracelet. It's convertible. Her husband bought this for her sometime, I think, in the 1930s during the Depression.
The first clue lies inside the piece, where the appraiser identifies a Swiss mechanical movement containing 17 jewels. Instead of relying on a famous branded movement, the jeweler paired this mechanism with an elaborate custom platinum setting decorated with diamonds. The central section could also be adapted, allowing the watch to become a more decorative bracelet while preserving the elegant appearance of the surrounding jewelry.
Swiss movement, 17 jewels. It's a standard ladies' movement for a vintage watch, and it works perfectly.
The real appeal lies in the ingenuity of the conversion itself. Rather than permanently sacrificing the watch, the design allowed the central element to be changed so the piece could function in different ways. Yet despite its craftsmanship, the modern market has become challenging for vintage ladies' watches, with changing fashions and an abundance of Art Deco examples keeping prices relatively modest.
With the Art Deco watches, we've seen so many come onto the market that it's actually somewhat pushed prices down.
Then with its modest market value, the combination of platinum, diamonds, a Swiss mechanical movement, and an ingenious convertible design makes this a fascinating example of personalized Art Deco jewelry. More importantly, the piece reflects the style and imagination of the woman who chose to transform it rather than simply wear it as originally intended. Now, only one question remained. How much could this unusual heirloom be worth?
If this ever came to auction, the watch would have a value of $300 to $500.
Oh, wow.
And that is what makes this convertible piece so memorable. Its importance is not measured by a spectacular auction price, but by the clever design that allowed one cherished jewel to serve two different purposes. Nearly a century later, it remains a charming reminder of a woman whose creativity and sense of style were remarkably ahead of her time. Number 5. Nordlinger & Sons, Patek Philippe, Enamel Pocket Watch. Not every great American fortune was built in a boardroom or inherited from a wealthy dynasty. This remarkable story began in 1893, when an ambitious young man opened a modest drinks booth amid the crowds of the Chicago World's Fair. The profits from that single summer helped launch a successful career in California land and oil, eventually allowing him to indulge in extraordinary luxury. To commemorate his success, he acquired a magnificent custom-enameled Patek Philippe pocket watch that disappeared into a family safety deposit box for generations.
Today I brought for you a Patek Philippe watch that was, we believe, purchased by my great-great-grandfather.
The first major clue lies in the watch's maker, Patek Philippe, whose Geneva workshops became renowned for producing sophisticated and highly personalized timepieces. Dating to around 1910, this example combines a refined Swiss mechanical movement with an elaborate enamel exterior created for the luxury market. Inside the case, a Los Angeles retailer's mark identifies Nordlinger & Sons, connecting this European masterpiece directly to the wealthy clientele of early 20th century California.
The enamel motif on the watch is just beautiful artwork. In terms of the age of the watch, it's likely that this watch was created around 1910.
The enamel decoration is what truly sets this pocket watch apart. Creating such intricate designs required powdered glass pigments to be carefully applied and fired onto the gold surface, with every heating stage carrying the risk of cracking or destroying the work. Even more remarkably, the watch survived with its original gold chain matching enamel details and diamond accents still intact. That level of completeness gives collectors a rare opportunity to see the timepiece much as its original owner would have experienced it.
They were known for selling these types of enamel Patek Philippe pocket watches. Having that watch, knowing the history a little bit, having the time fall into place, it kind of all adds up in terms of collectible watches. wristwatches are all the rage.
The combination of PATEK Philippe craftsmanship, elaborate enamel work, original accessories, and a direct connection to an early Los Angeles luxury retailer makes this an exceptional survivor. While pocket watches no longer dominate everyday timekeeping, rare examples from prestigious Swiss makers can still command significant prices when their condition and provenance remain intact. Now only one question remained. How much could this forgotten family treasure be worth?
If you were to walk into a jeweler or a watch shop today, you'd be expected to pay $20,000 to $25,000 for this watch at retail.
And that is what makes this pocket watch so extraordinary. Its value is not simply in the gold, diamonds, or Patek Philippe name, but in how it connects an ambitious American fortune to the craftsmanship of early 20th century Geneva. Hidden away for generations, this exquisite timepiece finally emerged from a safety deposit box to reveal a remarkable chapter of family history and American prosperity. Number 6. Swiss Automaton Pocket Watch. Sometimes an extraordinary treasure survives not through careful investment, but against the sheer odds of world history. Tucked away quietly inside a velvet box, this antique gold pocket watch carried an aura of quiet mystery. The family who inherited it knew it had survived political turmoil overseas, yet its delicate face held secrets about 19th century trade that had long been forgotten. They brought it in simply hoping to learn where it was made.
Well, it belonged to my great-grandfather, and it came down through the family.
Now, this is a watch made for the Chinese market.
During the early 1800s, Swiss watchmakers customized luxury timepieces specifically for Qing dynasty elites, who favored mirror-image pairs adorned with natural pearls and vivid enamel work. Master artisans in Fleurier spent hundreds of hours hand-engraving and enameling these cases to withstand humid climates while displaying extraordinary luxury. But political instability and radical societal shifts in 20th century Asia forced many families to hide or surrender such prized possessions under immense pressure. The physical scars on a timepiece often tell a far more compelling historical story than pristine, untouched gold ever could.
When we first saw the floral enamel, you saw the pearls around the outside of it. This once had pearls around it too, and I understand this has had sort of a sad history.
Beneath the dial lies a complex mechanical movement driving an intricate miniature mechanical theater where microgearing transforms solid metal into dynamic movement. Depicting the classical mythological motif of Cupid's forge, the automated figures move in perfect rhythm with the ticking balance wheel inside. Mechanical automatons from this era required extraordinary microengineering and precision assembly that only a handful of Swiss workshops could achieve. This rare union of mythological art and mechanical complexity makes surviving functional examples highly sought after by international collectors.
The front of the watch really is pure Swiss, and it depicts a scene out of Greek mythology known as Cupid's forge.
Given its rare automaton movement, mythological enamel artwork, and dramatic history of survival, the moment had come to establish its current place in the horological market.
We think that if you had to insure it, you should think in terms of $35,000, perhaps to $40,000. It's quite a nice watch.
Objects like this stand as permanent testaments to human resilience and artistic genius across generations. Having weathered political turmoil, confiscation, and partial loss, its surviving inner gears continue to turn without missing a beat. It will remain a cornerstone of family pride, ensuring that an extraordinary legacy of historical survival will inspire future caretakers for decades to come. Number 7. French China Mantel Clock. Not every cherished object comes from a high-end antique gallery. Sometimes the most extraordinary treasures begin as simple family gestures. Passed down through a clockmaker's family, this decorative blue piece was cherished purely as a sentimental memory of home. The owner knew it was an old European creation given by her beloved grandfather, yet she never suspected that its delicate surface hid the handiwork of an elite historical artisan.
I know that my grandfather, my mother's father, gave it to her as a gift. I want to say maybe 15 years ago or so. He fixed clocks, and he was a jeweler.
French porcelain clock design reached its height around the turn of the 20th century, drawing heavily from 18th century Rococo traditions and royal iconography. Artisans applied lavish gilt work over deep cobalt porcelain bodies, painstakingly adding symbolic motifs like the royal fleur-de-lis. Creating these multi-layered gold accents required careful firing and hand finishing, where even small imperfections could compromise the delicate decoration. What makes this piece stand out, however, is the possibility that it originally belonged to a larger decorative garniture.
And there's a possibility it was once a part of a three-piece set. Very often the French would create what they call a garniture.
In addition to the richly decorated porcelain exterior, the movement inside represents classic French mechanical engineering, designed to run for 8 days on a single winding. Preserving original elements such as the custom fleur-de-lis hands and delicate beveled glass bezel adds significantly to its historical appeal. Decades of careful family ownership also help protect the fragile mechanism from unnecessary damage. Even removing the pendulum before transport demonstrated an understanding of how easily the clock's most delicate components could be harmed.
The clock is an 8-day clock. They tell good time. The dial is a enamel dial, and these hands are the original hands.
With its original components preserved and its richly decorated porcelain case intact, the appraiser was ready to reveal its current financial standing in today's antique market.
I would estimate the value of a clock like this to be retail between $1,200 and $1,500.
Nice. We like that.
Good.
It's beautiful.
His delicate clock stands as a living bridge between the artistic mastery of the past and the enduring bonds of family memory. Its value is not simply in the porcelain gilded decoration or mechanical movement, but in the grandfather's decision to give each of his children a special piece to carry forward. Now, as another generation takes responsibility for it, the clock's steady movement continues a family tradition built around craftsmanship, affection, and memory. Number 8. 18th century French orbit clock. Spontaneous decisions during international travel can occasionally lead to discovering extraordinary historical treasures. While browsing a London auction room decades ago, a vacationing couple bought an oddly structured brass mechanism purely out of fascination. Its unusual rotating shape and absence of traditional hands stood apart from standard clocks, hinting at a specialized mechanical purpose. They had no idea they were taking home an exceptionally rare artifact of French Royal-era engineering.
Well, my husband and I were on vacation in London. We're art collectors. We happened to walk into an auction house. We saw this piece and realized that it was coming up for auction the next day.
Known as an orbit clock, this uncommon design uses horizontal revolving rings rather than traditional hands to display the hours and minutes. 18th century French craftsmen cast these intricate pieces in bronze and finished them with ormolu, an elaborate gilt metal technique that gave the surface its distinctive golden appearance. The intricate multi-piece construction, internal pendulum housing, and specialized winding system confirm its early origin, making intact examples exceptionally scarce on the modern market.
Well, we call that an orbit clock.
Orbit? Okay. I didn't know
orbit
that.
Clock has annular rings. The ring on the top represents the minutes, and below is the indication of the hours.
18th century French clocks were rarely produced as standalone items. They were often created as three-piece garniture sets featuring matching decorative side candelabra. During centuries of estate sales and historical moves, these accompanying pieces were frequently separated or lost to time. Having all three original components preserved together dramatically changes how horological historians and serious auction houses view the object's overall historical importance. The presence of the matching candelabra transforms a fine clock into a remarkably complete decorative ensemble.
It's difficult for me to evaluate all three of these pieces without seeing the candelabra. But I can tell you from the nature of this clock that it was probably made as a three-piece set originally.
Considering its rare orbit mechanism, authentic 18th century ormolu finish, and the survival of its full matching garniture set, the conversation naturally turned to its modern market value.
I feel that the clock alone is worth in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000 if it was just the clock. I believe that if you had the candelabra with it and they were authentic to the piece.
What began as an impulse purchase at a European auction ended up preserving an extraordinary example of 18th century French horological engineering. Remaining complete across centuries of political change and cultural upheaval, this exceptional ensemble continues to fascinate collectors through its unusual mechanism, lavish decoration, and rare survival as a complete set. Its preservation ensures that a remarkable piece of Enlightenment-era craftsmanship can still be appreciated generations later. Number 9. French Musical Pocket Watch. Sometimes a family heirloom carries a hidden surprise that remains completely unnoticed for generations. Stored away inside a dark safety deposit box for over 20 years, this solid gold pocket watch was cherished primarily for its hand-painted enamel face. The family appreciated its antique beauty and fine gold casing, never imagining that an accidental touch would suddenly trigger a long silent mechanism inside.
It was given to my father from his grandfather. I'm next in line to inherit it, and we don't know much about it. It was appraised in 1991, and they estimated that it was from about 1820, and it's French.
Crafted in 18-karat gold during the 1830s, this pocket watch combines elite Swiss-French horology with high decorative art. Its porcelain dial features a hand-painted harbor scene complete with an early American flag, a highly unusual motif for a European watchmaker, designed specifically to appeal to wealthy American travelers. Protecting the delicate dial is a rare bullseye glass crystal, defined by its central hand-blown indentation, a historic glassmaking feature that cannot be replicated using modern industrial methods.
The watch was made in France. What's really wonderful is this face on it, or the dial of the watch, and we have an early American flag on there, so.
The back of the 18-karat gold case features exquisite engine-turned guilloche engraving, opening to reveal a protective inner cuvette. Inside, the movement houses two separate mechanical barrels, one dedicated entirely to timekeeping and a larger spring designed to drive an internal musical mechanism. This dual-action system allowed the watch to chime music automatically on the hour or play on demand at the press of a side button. Discovering that this miniature musical movement still operated flawlessly after 2 centuries was a rare revelation for horological scholars.
That's porcelain enamel. That's all hand-painted. And then you have this gold that's on top of the dial there. You notice at the center how it's indented a little bit right there? That is called a bullseye crystal. Can't get those today.
Combining solid 18-karat gold, an exceptional Americana enamel dial, and a fully functional musical movement created a compelling case for a dramatic update to its financial valuation.
An auction value today I would put on it with all these features on it. I think this watch would easily bring between $15,000 and $20,000.
Wow, that is quite the shock.
More than just a valuable piece of gold, this remarkable pocket watch is a harmonious blend of music, fine painting, and mechanical genius. Now brought back to light after decades in dark storage, its song will continue to delight new audiences. It stands as a timeless treasure, ready to carry a rich family legacy into the hands of future generations. Number 10. LENZKIRCH Table Clock. An eye for beauty can often transform a casual trip through an international market into an extraordinary discovery. While exploring a bustling antique shop in Prague, a couple was immediately captivated by a table clock of unusual proportions and striking metallic geometry. They bought it simply because they fell in love with its bold aesthetic, completely unaware of the prestigious factory name stamped inside its casing.
We found this clock in Prague last summer at an antique shop, and we fell in love with it, just had to have it. We paid, I think, around $3,000.
Produced by the famous LENZKIRCH factory in Germany, often regarded as one of the most respected names in European precision clockmaking, this piece displays exceptional scale and heavy cast bronze construction. What makes it extraordinarily rare is its transitional design created during a pivotal era in European decorative arts. It seamlessly blends the organic, flowing lines of Art Nouveau with the sharp, geometric angles of early Art Deco, as seen in its triangular glass panel and stylized numerals.
LENZKIRCH was in LENZKIRCH, Germany, and they were a highly, highly thought-of factory. They were the Cadillac of all the clock factories.
The decorative ungilded brass hands set against the clean enamel dial highlight the factory's commitment to careful finishing. By combining two distinct artistic movements into a single cast bronze housing, LENZKIRCH created a design that stood apart from more conventional clocks of its era. The angular structure of the Arabic numerals directly echoes the geometric cut of the glass, revealing a remarkable sense of stylistic harmony.
So it's fascinating to me that these two styles found their way onto one clock.
Recognizing its impressive size, prestigious maker reputation, and rare stylistic crossover, the appraiser was ready to assess its place in today's retail clock market.
My colleague and I conferred on its value, and at retail we would put it at $3,800.
All right, that's great. That's good news.
Very good.
His table clock proves that true design innovation can transcend simple artistic categories and geographical borders. Having made its journey from an antique shop in Prague to a proud new home, it stands as an enduring example of early 20th century German clockmaking and changing European design. It will continue to serve as a fascinating conversation piece, capturing the spirit of an artistic world in transition for generations to come. Number 11. Caldwell & Co. Clock and Barometer Set. Family heirlooms do not always sit proudly on display in a living room. Sometimes they end up hidden away in dark corners during home renovations. This pair of heavy wall instruments spent years resting silently under a bed. They brought the set to the show out of sheer curiosity about their unusual, fierce appearance.
These are a weather vane in the clock that my grandparents had. They worked in upstate New York at a lodge. When they retired, these are one of the things that they gave them for retirement.
What the family assumed were separate decorations actually form a complete set. Victorians rarely bought matching clock and barometer pairs together. Finding a surviving matching pair today is remarkably rare. These instruments were made to frame a window or doorway. Their heavy bronze castings weigh up to 7 pounds each. Victorian artisans poured molten metal into intricate sand molds to create these theatrical faces. The extreme weight highlights the elite craftsmanship of late 19th century foundries.
Well, you have two very unusual, well, actually makes it a clock set. A clock, and this is actually a barometer.
Two pieces use different dial finishes. The barometer features an engraved brass dial covered in a silver wash. This contrast makes the fine black indicator hand easy to read. The clock uses an enamel surface to protect the delicate movement inside from moisture. Fine detail work shines on every part of the hands. Both dials display the mark of J.E. Caldwell & Company in New York. Luxury retailers place their names only on top-tier merchandise. These pieces date back to around 1880, making them early examples for this design.
All right. Really quite incredible. These both were probably made about 1890, actually even 1880. Quite early for this type of thing. Fantastic quality.
Determining the monetary value required consulting with other experts on site. The team considered the heavy bronze construction and the rare paired nature. They factored in the prestige of the Caldwell retailer mark. They calculated the current demand for Victorian decorative metalwork. They looked at recent market sales for similar sets. High-end retail venues attract serious collectors willing to pay top dollar for complete pairs. A minor cleaning would easily restore the original luster of the metalwork. After combining all these key factors, the appraiser arrived at a firm valuation figure.
If you polish them up or clean them up a little bit and you put them in a higher-end retail store, certainly reasonable to expect to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,500 for the pair.
Rescued from under a bed, this set is finally getting the recognition it deserves. The dramatic bronze faces showcase the high art of Victorian manufacturing. They will no longer sit hidden away on the floor. Instead, they can hang proudly as an extraordinary family legacy. Number 12. Omega 14 KT Yellow Seamaster Chronograph. Personal style often passes down quietly through everyday objects that we wear without a second thought. This solid gold wristwatch was inherited from a beloved stepfather who cherished its sleek design. The stepson wore it daily as a meaningful connection to the past, remaining completely unaware of its rich technical background.
This is a Seamaster watch, an Omega, that my stepfather owned for years and willed it to me.
This functional chronograph represents a major development in post-war Swiss watchmaking, with round pushers becoming a hallmark of later waterproof chronograph designs. Omega produced this 14-karat gold model for the American market, combining a precious metal case with a sophisticated mechanical timing function. The result was a practical yet luxurious timepiece built during an important period in the evolution of Swiss chronographs.
Well, what this watch really is a chronograph, and it resets and you can time things with this. A watch like this, because it's round buttons, it's after the war years, 1945 and on.
Mid-century gold chronographs remain highly sought after by collectors worldwide because of their complex mechanical movements and the craftsmanship required to maintain them. The appraiser confirmed the piece dates to the mid-1950s, leaving the owner completely shocked by its open market value. Though he instantly wondered if he should stop wearing it daily, the appraiser warmly encouraged him to keep enjoying it on his wrist.
A watch like this in 14 karat, probably from the mid-50s, in an auction would bring about $3,500.
Holy smoke. You're kidding me.
While auction estimates reflect market value, retail valuations can account for professional servicing and restoration of complex vintage chronograph movements. A skilled watchmaker must carefully inspect and service the intricate mechanical components to ensure the movement continues to operate accurately. With its gold case, period design, and working chronograph function, this Omega remains an appealing example of mid-century Swiss watchmaking.
On the retail level, fixed up, restored, it's quite expensive to restore a chronograph.
Oh, really?
It's
Okay.
expensive process. But when you do, it probably bring about $5,000.
Oh, wow.
What seemed like a simple, sentimental accessory turned out to be a remarkable example of mid-century Swiss horology. Its mechanical precision and gold construction give it genuine historical value, while its family provenance gives it an even more personal significance. The owner can now wear it with even greater pride and appreciation for his stepfather's taste. Number 13. Longines Aviator's Watch, CA 1938. Bargain hunting in 1970s Manhattan occasionally uncovered genuine historical treasures hidden in plain sight. A retired doctor bought this massive wristwatch at a pawn shop on 3rd Avenue simply because he loved unique mechanisms. His son brought the oversized timepiece to the show, guessing it was originally built for early aviation pioneers.
My father is a retired doctor, had many years practice in Manhattan, and has had a great love for watches and clocks for all his life. He used to occasionally go to a pawn shop to see what was available, and he picked this up at a pawn shop on 3rd Avenue.
Famed aviator Charles Lindbergh collaborated with Longines to create the hour-angle watch after his historic 1927 transatlantic flight, designing it around the practical needs of early pilots. Because aircraft in the 1930s lacked pressurization and heating, pilots often flew in bitterly cold conditions, wearing heavy jackets and gloves. The oversized case and long strap allowed the watch to be worn over bulky clothing while keeping its specialized dial visible in the cockpit.
This watch was designed by Charles Lindbergh after he flew across the Atlantic, and he worked with Longines to make an aviator's watch.
Although Longines produced several variations of the hour-angle watch through the early aviation era, this giant version remains particularly impressive because of its size and specialized design. Its oversized rotating bezel and distinctive dial were intended to help pilots calculate hour angles and determine longitude while navigating in flight. After decades of use and changing technology, surviving examples became highly desirable among collectors of aviation and horological history.
Do you have any idea what he paid for it?
Actually, I do. He paid no more than $100.
That modest $100 purchase from a New York pawn shop was about to reveal a remarkable return on investment. Early aviation watches were exposed to demanding conditions, making well-preserved original examples increasingly difficult to find. The rarity of this particular Lindbergh model adds another layer of appeal for collectors seeking historically significant pilots' watches.
A watch like this on the retail market today probably would run around $12,000. It's a pretty rare watch. There aren't many of them around.
A doctor's sharp eye in a New York pawn shop preserved a remarkable piece of early aviation history. This Longines watch represents the ingenuity of a time when pilots depended on mechanical instruments to navigate across the skies. Decades after that unexpected purchase, it remains a cherished heirloom with a story as extraordinary as the technology it once represented. Number 14. PATEK Philippe U.S. Navy Watch, CHA 1915. Incredible historic artifacts often sit forgotten inside bedroom nightstands for decades. Left behind by a late father, this large silver pocket watch sat untouched and quiet in a dark drawer. The current owner knew nothing about its military roots, bringing it to the appraisal table simply to uncover its story.
It was one that my father had that he left me when he passed away. It must have been his or his grandfather's. I really don't know a lot about it.
Was your grandfather in the Navy?
No, my grandfather was on the railroad.
Crafted by PATEK Philippe, this extraordinary instrument is an elite marine ship's chronometer that earned third place at the prestigious 1912 Geneva Observatory timing trials. Swiss watchmaking houses invested heavily in testing these precision movements under demanding conditions to achieve exceptional accuracy. Its exceptional performance helped establish the reputation of PATEK Philippe among collectors and professional timekeepers.
It's made by one of the finest watch companies in the world, PATEK Philippe. This is a ship's chronometer. This particular watch, which is signed U.S. Navy on the reverse, was issued to the government starting in 1915.
The caliber 21 movement inside represents the advanced engineering of early 20th century chronometer production, featuring gold-capped ruby jewels designed to reduce friction and maintain consistent performance. Housed in a massive 900 fine silver case, its enamel dial remains in remarkably good condition despite the instrument's intended use in demanding maritime environments. Collectors prize large-format marine chronometers from prestigious Swiss makers, making its long survival inside a quiet family drawer all the more remarkable.
The movement is a chronometer-grade movement, and it's called a caliber 21.
A forgotten dresser drawer heirloom was about to reveal a remarkable valuation on the open market. The combination of PATEK Philippe craftsmanship, official Navy markings, and a well-preserved enamel dial gives the chronometer substantial historical and collector appeal. Its condition also adds significantly to its value, as pristine original surfaces are increasingly difficult to find on instruments of this age.
On the retail level in 2023, a watch of this condition and quality would bring somewhere in the $25,000 to $30,000 price range.
What was once dismissed as a simple old silver watch turned out to be a remarkable piece of precision timekeeping history. Its survival connects elite Swiss horology with the world of maritime navigation and military service. After decades hidden in a drawer, this extraordinary chronometer can finally be appreciated for the craftsmanship and history it carries. Number 15, 1904, English Smith & Son Tourbillon Pocket Watch. Acts of mentorship often leave meaningful legacies that outlast generations. A civil engineer neighbor gave this massive gold pocket watch to the guest's father as an inspiring gesture. Operating a basement radio shop, he encouraged the young man to pursue higher education at MIT, prompting the family to treasure the piece under a special nickname.
It was a gift from my father. My father grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut. It was given to him from a neighbor. His neighbor...
S. Smith & Son were premier London horologists renowned for producing sophisticated precision timepieces for distinguished clients. The dial features a specialized up-down power reserve indicator that shows how much power remains in the mainspring. The heavy 18-karat gold case was crafted by Frederick Toms, while the enamel dial survives with only a tiny hairline crack.
We know it's a pocket watch. It's 18-karat gold. It was made by Smith & Son in London.
Okay.
And they were famous watchmakers.
Opening the rear cover reveals the ultimate surprise in high horology, a mechanical tourbillon escapement that completes one full revolution every 60 seconds. Originally invented by Abraham Louis Breguet, the tourbillon was designed to reduce the effects of gravity on the watch's regulating mechanism when held in different positions. Creating such a mechanism by hand in the early 20th century required extraordinary precision, making surviving antique English tourbillon watches exceptionally rare.
And the whole escapement makes one revolution every 60 seconds. Tourbillons were invented by Breguet, who was really the most famous watchmaker in France. He was 50 years ahead of everybody else.
Evaluating a watch of this rarity requires looking beyond the precious metal and considering the extraordinary complexity of its movement. The solid 18-karat gold case already gives the watch substantial material value, but the handmade tourbillon transforms it into a highly specialized collector's piece. Compared with a conventional English watch, this rare complication places the timepiece in an entirely different category of horological collecting.
Wow.
This watch, in the present market, would retail between $40,000 to $50,000.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
This magnificent watch represents an extraordinary achievement in Edwardian horological engineering. What started as a neighbor's generous gift to a promising student turned out to be a remarkable mechanical masterpiece. Today, it stands as a lasting family legacy that preserves both the story of mentorship and the ingenuity of early 20th century watchmaking. Number 16. Swiss Watch Collection, CA 1970. Treasures often remain hidden in the most unassuming household corners, waiting decades to be rediscovered. When family members begin sorting through a lifetime of accumulated possessions, surprising historical artifacts can emerge from simple storage containers. A routine office cleanout can suddenly become an extraordinary journey through master craftsmanship.
I brought in a collection. It's my dad's. He's 86, and he's collected watches for maybe 30-some years.
He forgotten cardboard box contained an extraordinary group of vintage timepieces spanning several decades and representing some of Switzerland's most celebrated watchmaking houses. Among them were two 18-karat gold PATEK Philippe dress watches, including an iconic blue dial ellipse, alongside two distinctive Audemars Piguet models. One ultra-thin Audemars Piguet, retailed by the prestigious House of Gobelin, contained an exceptionally slim mechanical movement that was remarkable for its era. The collection also included a complicated 18-karat gold Blancpain with calendar and moon phase functions, a stainless steel Rolex Datejust, and an 18-karat gold and steel Cartier Santos.
When you brought the box and I opened it, as a watch collector, I started to get pretty excited because it's a sort of potpourri of the best names in the world. We'll first start with this watch here.
Evaluating such a diverse collection requires examining each watch individually for brand prestige, materials, condition, and mechanical complexity. The Patek Philippe examples lead the group in value, while the ultra-thin Audemars Piguet and complicated Blancpain add significant collector appeal. The remaining Audemars Piguet, Cartier Santos, and Rolex Datejust further strengthen the collection by bringing together several of the most recognizable names in 20th century luxury watchmaking. Taken together, the assortment is far more valuable than the family's initial estimate of only a few $1,000s.
To give an idea of values, and the values of the watch that I'm talking are generally on the retail level. This watch here, the Patek Philippe, we're talking somewhere in the $12,000 to $14,000 range.
Wow.
A modest guess of a few $1,000s quickly vanished when the combined retail figures were revealed. The appraiser placed the entire cardboard box collection between $46,000 and $57,000 at retail. What had looked like an ordinary group of forgotten watches suddenly became a remarkable family legacy of high-end Swiss horology.
A little more than you thought.
Yes, a lot more than we thought.
What began as a routine office cleanout ended in an unforgettable discovery of mechanical mastery and refined taste. The true value was not simply in the precious metals or famous names, but in the extraordinary collection assembled and quietly preserved by one owner. Hidden for years inside an ordinary cardboard box, these watches now stand as a lasting tribute to a father's appreciation for exceptional craftsmanship. Number 17. Pocket watch with fob chain. Fascinating historical legends often attach themselves to remarkable objects as they pass through different hands over time. Stories of famous outlaws and high-stakes trades create a captivating aura around mysterious family heirlooms. Disentangling colorful folklore from tangible physical evidence is always the first challenge for any serious historian.
The story is that Pancho Villa killed a man in Mexico City and took the watch off of him. Then he ended up in Alpine, Texas, where he traded this watch to Mr. Kasner for a brand new Buick automobile.
Physical details on the timepiece align closely with the dramatic late 19th century timeline associated with the Mexican Revolution. The original enamel dial bears the signature of La Esmeralda, a famous luxury jewelry shop that operated in Mexico City prior to the turn of the century. The 18-karat gold case displays the original owner's initials set with rose-cut diamonds, perfectly complemented by an original two-tone gold chain set with brilliant diamonds and a matching locket fob. The Swiss movement inside represents extreme horological complexity, featuring a 4-dial perpetual calendar, moon phase indicator, precision stopwatch, and a chiming minute repeater function.
If you examine the watch on the dial, it does have the name of a jewelry store in Mexico City.
La Esmeralda.
It is from the era that it could actually be the story could be true.
Extremely complex mechanical pocket watches with multi-complication movements consistently command top-tier interest among specialized international collectors. The inclusion of an original diamond-set matching fob chain crafted from two-tone gold substantially elevates its overall artistic and material worth. While official documentation linking the piece directly to Pancho Villa remains undiscovered, the serial numbers provide a clear path for future archival research. The appraiser highlighted that proving the outlaw provenance through historical records would dramatically multiply its already significant market value.
Considered a very, very complicated watch because each dial has to have a separate part of the watch movement.
Even without verified outlaw history, the mechanical masterpiece stands firmly as a major discovery. The appraiser placed a strong valuation on the watch and matching chain between $30,000 and $50,000. Delighted by the outcome, the guest left eager to research the serial numbers further.
Would you have a guess as to how much this watch might be worth in
No
today's
idea.
market?
That's what I'm doing here.
Somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
Would it be worth more if I could prove the story?
Whether born of wild revolutionary folklore or quiet luxury patronage, true craftsmanship speaks for itself. This magnificent assembly of gold, diamonds, and intricate gearing captures the romance of a bygone era. It remains a thrilling mystery and a treasured centerpiece for future generations to explore. Number 18. Cottage and Novelty Alarm Clocks. Small technical shops in bustling cities often leave behind surprising treasures when unclaimed items sit forgotten on dusty shelves. Uncollected service projects can slowly transform into fascinating historical records of everyday domestic life. Everyday objects designed for simple daily tasks frequently carry charming artistic details from another era.
I have two clocks. Both of them I got from my father's shop. He was a watchmaker in Manhattan. And when he died, these were some of the things that were never picked up. Silly people.
The first item is an American cottage clock manufactured around 1885, featuring a rosewood case, a gilded frame, and a reverse-painted glass panel. Built with a 30-hour spring-driven movement, it combines practical timekeeping with an ornate decorative case characteristic of the period. The accompanying piece is a portable German novelty travel alarm produced around World War I, engineered with a balance wheel mechanism that allowed it to keep running while being carried in luggage. Both timepieces showcase how 19th and early 20th century clockmakers blended artistic home decoration with practical personal utility.
Most cottage clocks have spring-driven movements. They're designed to run 30 hours on the line, and many of them do have the alarm feature like this clock does.
Antique clock values have fluctuated over recent decades, with standard decorative models experiencing shifts in collector demand. However, distinctive American cottage clocks with attractive casework and reverse-painted glass continue to appeal to dedicated horological enthusiasts. Novelty travel alarms remain accessible pieces for collectors, offering mechanical charm and historical character without commanding especially high prices. Together, these two clocks preserve an interesting snapshot of how people once combined practical timekeeping with decorative design.
This clock, because it has a pendulum, really needs to be stationary in order for it to work. Whereas this clock here, you could wind it up, put it in your luggage, and travel wherever you wanted to go.
The appraisal confirmed that both unclaimed shop pieces retained solid collectible appeal on the modern market. The Rosewood American Cottage clock held its $450 valuation, while the German travel alarm added another $100. Delighted by the news, the guests celebrated the unexpected value of objects that had quietly remained in her father's shop.
A novelty clock today, somewhat collectible. The value of that would probably be somewhere around $100.
Okay.
Unclaimed repair projects from a Manhattan watch shop turned out to be delightful pieces of functional history. These charming timepieces preserve both the craftsmanship of their era and the memory of a father who spent his life repairing watches and clocks. What once looked like forgotten shop leftovers now serve as a lasting reminder of a family trade passed down through generations. Number 19. Patek Philippe Gold Wristwatch, CA, 1915 to 1918. Uncovering long-lost family history often happens during the bittersweet process of sorting through a deceased relative's home. Hidden away in forgotten corners, simple military keepsakes can suddenly reconnect descendants with their ancestors' wartime travels. What appeared to be a modest heirloom quickly turned into a historic revelation reaching back to World War I.
This is my husband's grandfather's watch. It was a watch that we actually found while cleaning out a home after his aunt passed away about 2 years ago.
Crafted between 1915 and 1918, this yellow 18-karat gold wristwatch represents an early chapter in Patek Philippe's transition from traditional pocket watches to wrist-worn timepieces. The sterling silver dial features an early luminescent treatment designed to improve nighttime readability, along with the maker's distinctive enamel signature. Produced during a pioneering era of small-batch watchmaking, the piece reflects the careful hand craftsmanship of early 20th century Swiss horology. Remarkably, the watch survives in exceptionally well-preserved condition, with its original crystal still intact.
This is an 18-karat gold, yellow case. This particular watch was a man's watch. The luminescent dial was really distinctive of Patek Philippe, which kind of set a style for everybody. It was a ground-setting kind of watch.
Early wristwatches from premier Swiss houses command strong interest among collectors because of their historical rarity and distinctive early designs. Many surviving examples from the World War I era have suffered from damaged dials, missing enamel, or extensive restoration. Because this watch retains its original dial details and exceptionally clean condition, it stands out as a remarkable survivor from the formative years of wristwatch production.
Most of them have been refinished or damaged, and your watch is immaculate.
A quiet discovery made during a house cleanout suddenly proved to be a major financial asset. The appraiser evaluated the pristine Swiss wristwatch at a retail market value between $40,000 and $50,000. Overflowing with excitement, the guest playfully anticipated a family competition over who would wear the historic piece first.
A watch in this condition, which is really rare, probably in today's market would be about a $40,000 to $50,000 watch retail.
Okay.
And very collectible and very desirable.
Okay.
What began as an overseas souvenir from a World War I veteran became an extraordinary example of early Swiss wristwatch making. Its exceptional preservation ensures that a grandfather's European journey will be remembered with pride for generations. Now discovered once again, this remarkable Patek Philippe can continue its story on a new owner's wrist. Number 20, 1914, Patek Philippe Pocket Watch. Passing down treasured heirlooms across several generations creates an indelible bond between family history and master craftsmanship. Objects once owned by prominent historical figures can carry a silent dignity that connects the past to the present. Sometimes a quiet family heirloom turns out to be an irreplaceable masterpiece of world-class horology.
This watch was handed down from my great-grandfather. He was the owner of the St. Paul Pioneer Press and Dispatch back in 1914 when he received this watch.
Manufactured in 1914 by Patek Philippe in Geneva, Switzerland, this extraordinary 18-karat gold pocket watch represents the pinnacle of grand complication watchmaking. The front displays hours, minutes, continuous seconds, a split-second chronograph, a minute register, and a slide lever that activates a minute repeater to chime the time on demand. The reverse reveals a full perpetual calendar with day, date, month, and moon phase indications designed to account for leap years. Accompanied by its original wooden box, spare crystals, extra mainsprings, and factory paperwork, the watch survives with an exceptional level of completeness.
It's manufactured by the Patek Philippe Company of Geneva, Switzerland.
Grand complication pocket watches created by Patek Philippe occupy the highest tier of international horological collecting. The combination of a split-second chronograph, minute repeater, and perpetual calendar places this watch in an exceptionally specialized category. Its original accessories, spare components, and documentation further strengthen the connection between the watch and its original production history. With so many advanced complications contained within a single 18-karat gold case, the timepiece represents an extraordinary achievement of early 20th century Swiss watchmaking.
This is one incredible watch. I've never held a watch like this in my hand.
What? You're kidding.
That is one incredible watch.
15-year-old appraisal of $6,000 was about to be replaced by a dramatically higher valuation. The appraiser concluded that this exceptional grand complication could approach $250,000 at auction. The revelation left the owner stunned by the extraordinary value of an heirloom that had quietly remained in the family for generations.
Patek Philippe is now purchasing those watches for their museum. This watch at auction, I suspect, would bring close to $250,000.
What was treasured simply as an ancestor's pocket watch turned out to be an extraordinary masterpiece of Swiss horology. Its remarkable combination of complications, gold craftsmanship, and family provenance gives it a place among the most significant treasures in the collection. For generations to come, it can preserve not only immense financial value, but the remarkable story of the family who safeguarded it. Number 21. 1871 Waltham Gold Pocket Watch. Sacred family treasures handed down across multiple generations often carry the pride and history of pioneering figures. Protected inside heavy iron safes, these quiet keepsakes wait for the moment when their stories can be shared with the world. A simple heirloom pulled from storage can reveal a deeply personal connection to a remarkable ancestral legacy.
Well, it's a watch that has been handed down through my family from an ancestor named William Cooper. He became the Supreme Grand Commander of the Sovereign Grand Council of the ancient and accepted rites of the Scottish Freemasonry, the Prince Hall Division of New Jersey.
Manufactured in 1871 by the American Waltham Watch Company in Waltham, Massachusetts, this solid 18-karat gold pocket watch features a specialized lever-set mechanism on the dial edge. Presented on the 11th of December 1876 as a tribute from fellow members of the order, the case carries a highly detailed hand-engraved crest representing the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. Surviving in remarkably untouched condition after more than a century, the ensemble is completed by its original solid gold chain, matching gold fob, and a rare retractable 19th century gold pencil.
The watch was made by the American Waltham Watch Company in Waltham, Massachusetts, and it was made in 1871. It has an engraving which is dated 1876 that he was presented by other members of the commandery.
Historical artifacts that connect multiple collecting fields can become especially significant pieces of 19th century Americana. A gold presentation watch associated with an early African-American Freemason carries interest among horological collectors, Masonic historians, and researchers of African-American heritage. Its detailed engraving, documented presentation history, and extraordinary condition combine to create a provenance far more meaningful than the materials alone.
A solid gold watch from the mid-19th century presented to a 33rd degree African-American Freemason is a very, very rare find.
While market value provides an important benchmark, exceptional family heirlooms can also warrant specialized insurance coverage to protect their historical significance. The appraiser estimated that it could bring between $6,000 and $7,000 at auction, while recommending an insurance valuation of at least $10,000. The appraisal provided not only a financial benchmark, but also formal recognition of the watch's remarkable family history.
Many, many generations, you would want to have an insurance appraisal at least in the $10,000 price range. This is just an unbelievably gorgeous watch.
What spent decades resting quietly in a family safe has now been recognized as an extraordinary piece of American history. The pristine 18-karat gold case connects fine Massachusetts watchmaking with the legacy of a distinguished ancestor. Preserved across generations, this remarkable timepiece remains a powerful family heirloom and a lasting reminder of the history carried within an object. Number 22. 1851 Long Case Clock. Monumental domestic objects often demand an imposing physical space long before their historic value can be fully appreciated. Finding a home capable of accommodating a massive cabinet-sized timepiece can pose an immediate challenge for modern homeowners. Yet those rare interior spaces that accept them can end up preserving a remarkable turning point in national craftsmanship.
Well, I have to say this must be one of the largest long case clocks I've seen in a long while. First of all, do you have a house that it can fit into? I mean, you need a pretty big...
Yes.
Constructed in mid-19th century Yorkshire with a solid mahogany door and rich mahogany veneers, this exceptionally wide long case clock stands among the final traditional examples produced in England. The painted dial arch features an explicit depiction of the Great Exhibition's Crystal Palace, dated 1851, providing a precise clue to its date of manufacture. Typical of Victorian clockmaking trade networks, the movement, dial, and heavy cabinet were produced by separate regional workshops and later assembled for retail.
And we can, quite rarely, for a client like this, date it fairly accurately, because up in the arch here you actually have a picture of the Crystal Palace with the date 1851 at the time of the Great Exhibition. So it must be either that date or sometime shortly afterwards.
Yes.
The Great Exhibition of 1851 marked a major crossroads for Britain's horological industry. Mass-produced American shelf clocks entered the British market with smaller, simpler, and more affordable designs, putting increasing pressure on traditional English long case production. English cabinet makers responded with imposing cases that showcased elaborate woodworking and emphasized the craftsmanship of domestic clockmaking.
But certainly by the end of the 1850s, 1860, long cases were dead, literally being killed off by American imports. So this must rank as one of the last of them.
While its historical significance remains undeniable, its sheer physical scale heavily influences modern market demand. The appraiser noted that the enormous cabinet limits the number of potential buyers, keeping its auction estimate between £1,200 and £1,500. Understanding its place in English horological history, the owner accepted the realistic valuation with quiet appreciation.
You know, at auction it would certainly fetch £1,200, perhaps up to £1,500, something like that.
What barely fits inside an old English cottage stands as a grand monument to a disappearing tradition. Its mahogany case preserves the final chapter of a once-thriving English long case clock industry facing the pressure of industrial mass production. Today, it remains both a functioning timepiece and a striking piece of domestic history. Number 23. Lawrence of Arabia's Omega Pilot Watch. Bargain finds uncovered at bustling flea market stalls occasionally hide connections to world-defining historical icons. Worn-out military instruments sold for mere pocket change can carry silent documentation that completely transforms an owner's understanding of the past. A casual purchase made decades ago can unexpectedly become a museum-worthy historical discovery.
I'll tell you what I got. I bought it off a chap that was dealing in bric-a-brac in Newport Market in South Wales 22 years ago.
Engineered by Omega around 1912 for early 20th century military aviation, this oversized pilot's watch features an ultra-legible white dial with stark black numerals designed to remain readable over bulky flight clothing. The casing displays Omega hallmarks alongside British import marks that help establish its early date. Even more remarkable, the watch is accompanied by a 1933 service receipt made out to T.E. Shaw of Clouds Hill, the pseudonym associated with Thomas Edward Lawrence.
Pilot's watch is that, in fact, if you actually put it, it's somewhat large for everyday wear, and they were worn outside, probably on a big leather or fleece flying jacket.
Thomas Edward Lawrence, immortalized as Lawrence of Arabia, became one of the most recognizable figures of the First World War. Following his wartime service in the Middle East, he sought a quieter life and served under the name T.E. Shaw, including during his years with the Royal Air Force. A service record connecting an early Omega pilot's watch to that adopted identity would give the object an extraordinary historical dimension.
It's Lawrence of Arabia.
Good God.
If I'm correct, after the First World War, he was somewhat a complex character, and he rejoined, I think, didn't he rejoin the RAF under the name of Shaw?
A modest 80-pound market purchase suddenly yielded a breathtaking historical connection. The Omega pilot's watch already carried value as an early aviation timepiece, but the possible connection to Lawrence dramatically increased its collector appeal. The appraiser suggested that the Lawrence Association could potentially raise the value to several £1,000s more than the watch alone.
So, couple of grand, couple of £1,500 as just as a watch. How much you could add for the Lawrence connection, I don't know. He's one of the most fascinating characters of the early part of this century. I would. It's a guess. I'd double that, maybe 5, maybe 10.
What was once traded for spare change in a Welsh market is now associated with one of the most fascinating figures of the First World War. Its oversized dial represents the dawn of military aviation, while the service receipt opens a remarkable window into the later life of Lawrence of Arabia. It remains a powerful reminder that extraordinary history can sometimes be hiding in the most ordinary-looking flea market finds. Number 24. 1914 Pocket Watch. Distinguished military families often preserve exquisite personal objects that embody the bravery and status of their ancestors. Protected inside original fitted presentation cases, these possessions can carry both personal pride and remarkable mechanical artistry. A Grand Officer's pocket watch can offer an unforgettable glimpse into early 20th century luxury.
This is my grandfather's, and he was Colonel of the Scots Greys, and his name was William Jugid Maccombie, and the crest is the Jugid one and the Maccombie one.
Manufactured in 1914 by prestigious London makers Barraud and Lunds, this heavy gold hunting-cased pocket watch displays two finely enameled family crests depicting a dove and a wildcat. The solid gold case bears London hallmarks for 1914 and was crafted by Toms, one of the most respected English watch case makers of the period. The high-grade mechanical movement features a minute repeater operated by a side slide, allowing the watch to sound the hours, quarters, and minutes on internal gongs.
Well, let's just start by looking at the lid of the box. Barraud and Lund, London. Great makers.
By 1914, British watchmaking was approaching the end of its great traditional era, making luxury pieces by renowned London firms particularly fascinating today. The movement combines sophisticated mechanical construction with a compact repeater mechanism designed for discrete timekeeping when visibility was limited. Together with the bespoke gold case, enamel family crests, and military provenance, the watch represents an exceptional example of pre-war English horology.
What we'll do with a watch like this is to advance the time to, say, a couple of minutes before 11, and then I'm going to pull the slide in a second. And you can see and hear what happens. And if you haven't seen this before, here's your first go.
Mechanical complexity combined with strong family provenance gives this pocket watch considerable appeal among serious collectors. The appraiser calculated that the fine minute-repeating watch could bring between £4,000 and £5,000 at auction. Delighted by the valuation, the guest immediately made clear that this remarkable family heirloom would remain with his family.
It would have no problem at auction making between £4,000 and £5,000.
Goodness me.
Happy?
This magnificent minute repeater survives as a remarkable example of classic English watchmaking. Its enamel family crests, gold case, and musical complication preserve the memory of a distinguished cavalry officer. Rather than entering the market, it will continue as a treasured heirloom, carrying its family's story into future generations. Number 25. Art Nouveau Enamel Pendant Watch. Heartfelt gifts from close friends often carry untold artistic beauty and historical elegance. Cherished accessories worn daily on lapels can hold fascinating secrets hidden beneath their exquisite surfaces. What began as a generous token of friendship can turn out to be a masterpiece of early 20th century jewelry design.
It was left to me by a very dear friend. I actually used to work for her, and her husband was a buyer at one time in Harrods.
Crafted between 1905 and 1910, this Art Nouveau pendant watch showcases vibrant enamel work featuring rich crimson tones and coral-colored floral petals. The bezel features an ingenious frameless winding mechanism operated by rotating the outer rim, alongside a tiny thumb latch used to adjust the hands. Opening the pristine enamel case reveals a miniature Swiss mechanical platform movement, preserved in remarkably fine working condition.
Well, these flowers, the petals, leaves, the enamel, it's very, very sort of Art Nouveau in style, isn't it?
Art Nouveau jewelry from the early 1900s remains highly prized for its organic forms, delicate enameling, and seamless blending of function with fine art. Surviving enamel pieces from this period frequently show chips, cracks, or losses, making an exceptionally well-preserved surface especially desirable to collectors. The addition of diamond accents on the pendant suspender further enhances its refined appearance and period character.
Do you see that little movement in there?
That's working fine.
Absolutely. I'm not sure that the pendant actually went en suite with the watch when new, but the colours are so good that it doesn't really matter.
The combination of finely preserved Art Nouveau enameling and sophisticated Swiss miniature mechanics created a remarkable valuation moment. The appraiser estimated that replacing a piece of this quality would cost at least £6,000 to £7,000. Overjoyed by the unexpected figure, the guest was deeply touched by the lasting value of her friend's generous gift.
But
if you went to look for one,
Yes.
I think that's going to cost you an absolute minimum of £6,000 to £7,000.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness me. Thank you.
A lapel watch cherished as a personal gift for decades turns out to be a remarkable jewel of the Art Nouveau era. Its vibrant floral enamel and miniature Swiss movement capture the elegance and ingenuity of a bygone age. Passed down through friendship rather than formal inheritance, it remains a beautiful reminder that the most meaningful treasures often carry stories far beyond their monetary value.